Good day again, beloveds. Today I want to look at something that's maybe one of the most important teachings of the Bible, and that is the earth and the creation in Genesis. Even we as Christians, as true Christians, do not always understand what the spiritual meaning of the creation in the Bible is. And there's quite a few reasons why we misinterpret or misunderstand the creation in the Bible. First of all is evolution. If we do not understand that there were human beings on the planet more than 7,000 years ago, we will be totally lost, because then the creation in the Bible cannot make sense. And what we also do, we understand that Adam was created to God's image within us. But there we also get confused with man and human. If we don't understand man and human, beloveds, we will not understand the creation, we will not understand the rest of the Bible. So let us start off with evolution. Evolution started millions of years ago, and all the species evolved into more intelligent species until the Homo sapiens, or the human being, walked the planet approximately 300,000 years ago. And the human being evolved for another approximately 293,000 years before it became intelligent enough for God to create light and understanding within it. And the reason for this was because each human has a soul. Each living being has a soul. But the human is the most advanced animal on the planet, and the only animal that has the intelligence to become God conscious or to become enlightened. None of the lower species are intelligent enough to serve God. So evolution happened, but evolution never stopped. Because when God created human, the human being, the human animal, God had to find a way to free the soul within the human animal. And that is why the spiritual creation started. God had to create the earth. Now the earth is spiritual mind and understanding. Without the earth, God can't sow and God can't reap upon the earth, because even the light was created upon the earth. Man was created from the earth. Now, I just want to touch the other reason why we do not understand the creation in Genesis and the earth. The earth was the mind. Now, when we start understanding spiritually, God can create His image within us. And that spiritual image of God is named man by God. Adam and man. Now, as I said, this isn't man, this is human. And man is created from the earth within the human mind. And that is the spiritual gift of God within the human mind. Now, where we also fall by the wayside is many of us understand that man was created to God's image. And many of us understand that the earth that was created in the beginning is the understanding, is spiritual understanding, or the spirit earth within the human mind. But then God created Eve. How did God create Eve? Of Adam's rib. And what is Adam's rib? The rib protects the heart and the lungs. Now in spirit, the lungs, we breathe through the lungs. We breathe by listening the teachings and the winds and the breath of God. By breathing, listening, the lungs will be filled. And the heart is the understanding. So what protects my heart and my lungs? My way of understanding, my spiritual insight protects my heart and my lungs. In other words, I don't even have to partake of the body and the activities of Christ and the church. But I will know that there is only one path. I will know that this is the body of Jesus Christ. And that is what protects my heart and God within me, because God lives within my heart. And that is how God created a wife for Adam. His insight, his spiritual insight. And God created a wife. But Adam had to be in a deep sleep. Why? Because when somebody is testified and they don't understand the fullness of God yet, we will go on testimony, but God can put our minds into a deep sleep, or our way of understanding, and He will create through us. And that's one of the miracles of this church, beloved. But that's a different topic. So God created Eve. What is Eve? My responsibility, my wife. The priest has a responsibility. That's his wife. The same as Joseph with Mary. When Christ was born, Mary became his wife. So the wife is my responsibility. It's not one person, it's many. And there's not one Adam, there's many. It's the church that goes out on testimony. But now where the problem lies is, we realize Adam is a spirit being. We also know that if Eve was created from Adam, she has to be spiritual as well. But now Cain and Abel is born, and now we jump to physical humans again. Now if Cain and Abel is physical, then everybody after them will be physical. And that's why they believe there's a physical Jesus. That's why we cannot understand that Abraham is the church. That's why we cannot understand that the Garden of Eden is the church. We cannot understand that David is the church. Solomon is the church. Solomon is Christ. David is Christ. Abraham is Christ. But in that form, beloved, Christ evolved from Adam, Abraham, David to Christ. And that is how the church evolved into Christ. There was never a Abram. Abram was the church. David is the church. Christ is the church. So there never was a physical Jesus. But the earth and the creation in Genesis, we have to understand that the earth is the mind of the human. Because if we do not understand that, we cannot understand man. Because the earth couldn't have been created within man. Within Adam. Because Adam didn't exist until the sixth day. And the earth was created before the first day. In other words, to give you a better explanation of this, the earth was covered in water because God's Spirit was upon the face of the waters. So, where did the water come from? God created the heaven and the earth. He created light, but He didn't create the waters. Not that God didn't create the waters. God created everything. But just for God to give us a better explanation of the water is that the humans that walked the planet at the time, they communicated with words. And God's Spirit was upon the face of these waters. In other words, God guided them through visions and dreams, and He guided them into a spiritual way of understanding. The earth wasn't created in an instant to say, let there be an earth. No. The earth was created over thousands of years within the human mind. And this waters had to be separated eventually, the way the people communicated, the ancient people communicated. That had to be separated into realizing what is spirit, what is from above, and what is from the earth, what is from the mind. And that is why we have to be very careful, beloved. If we do not understand that there were humans and God created the earth within the human mind, the Bible will not make sense. We will confuse Jesus with a physical being, and everything in the Bible will confuse us. So the earth was spiritual, and everything that was formed upon the earth must have been spiritual, isn't it? If the earth is formed within me, and light is within me, and the animals within me, and Adam within me, how can anything else be physical? Everything that's created in the Bible is spiritual, because it's from the earth. Adam is Jesus, Luke 3:38, and he evolved into the Christ, Jesus Christ. He became all the more spiritual. As I explained in the other video, Adam was born weak in sin, and he had to conquer sin until he became the Lord from heaven. It's the same with Jesus. When Jesus is formed within us, Jesus has to be magnified. That spirit of truth and light has to be magnified until it becomes the Father, until it becomes pure light. The flesh has to die for God to become us. God has to create us to His image, and that is why Jesus had to die on the cross. Not a physical Jesus. Jesus, the wisdom and the power of God within my mind. That is what Jesus is. And Jesus is the mediator between God and man. So we have to understand that if we cannot understand the earth and the creation in Genesis was formed within the human mind, and there were humans on the planet, everything else will be very confusing. So, this is human. Man is created to God's image within the human mind. Earth was created within the human mind. And that is where God will sow on fertile earth, rocky area, etc., etc. So, thank you very much for listening, beloveds. Please share this with your beloveds. And if you have any questions, please ask. And I will answer to the best of my abilities, because you know we have an entire body to assist us and guide us. There's nothing we do not know. God revealed everything to us. So God bless all of you, and thank you for listening.